Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. To have translation services.
I cannot hear you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Good to know.
I cannot hear you. Hello? Sorry, I cannot hear you. In the Zoom?
Oh, it's her.
Yeah, her.
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you all the way over here, but not in the Zoom. It is not.
Interesting.
Your voice is not coming.
No, that's, I unmuted myself. I want to make sure I was muted, otherwise I get reverberation.
Right, but can you hear us on Zoom? I don't know if I can sign in.
Maybe the microphone is not working.
I'm hearing her. What you say? I'm hearing things on Zoom. It's
Right.
at her end. Okay,
Hello?
that was a good meeting.
So here in the recording of Zoom, I cannot hear you.
Yes. Usually.
You wanna hear? No, hear any turn up volume. Turn up the volume. Let me see the volume. Hold on. Oh, yes. Now I can hear you now. It was my volume. It was too low. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. I can hear you. Yes. Yes. Now I can hear you. Sorry. Silly. Thank you.
Are you able to hear anything right now?
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
How you doing? Good.
I guess I pressed the wrong button. I'm sorry.
Welcome, everybody. So once again, we're here at the
Bienvenidos.
Oversight Committee, and we have translation services available.
Tenemos servicios de traducción disponibles. Las personas que les interese escuchar esta junta en español tienen que apretar la tecla del globo, parece un mundito, y eso le dará servicios de traducción y ustedes escogen español. Bueno, es lo único que hay en este momento, traducción en español. Y escucharán esta junta simultáneamente en español.
Add the translation services.
You done?
All right.
Good evening, everyone. It's 6:33 p.m. on Monday, July 14th, 2025. My name is Don Gosney, and I welcome everyone to the meeting of the West Contra Costa Unified School District's Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. All members of the public are welcome to speak on any issue tonight that is on the agenda. There are speaker forms on the table that must be turned in prior to the agenda item being called. Actually, that's what the rule says, but if you raise your hand, I'm going to call on you. We also offer an opportunity under public forum to speak on any issue under the control of the CBOC that is not on the agenda. Under public comment, with limited exceptions, the CBOC is not allowed to reply to comments or questions. I want to give everyone a chance to speak, so if you have something to say, please raise your hand or get my attention. I will try to call on speakers in the order they get my attention. During staff presentations, please get the attention directly from the presenter. I want to remind everyone that we're being recorded and the system isn't as great as we might like. So when you speak, please speak loudly and clearly so you can be recorded where others can hear and make out what you're saying. I spent a great part of last week listening to about 20 hours of video recordings. Some people were very lucid, others a little bit more difficult. So help me out, please. I need all the help I can get these days. If a motion is to be made, the maker of the motion and the seconder needs to state their name first so there's a clear recording of this. We need to maintain a quorum of 5 members in the room. If we have fewer than 5 for any reason, the way we conduct our meetings changes. If you have to leave early, or even if you have to leave for a bio break, if we fail to have the requisite quorum, the minutes will have to take note. We can continue to have presentations, but take no votes. The goal of our meeting is to conclude our business in 2 hours, but if we need to extend, This will only occur with the consent of the body. We run out of time. Some items may need to be deferred to a future meeting. Please stay focused on our real purpose, to oversee the bond funds and the bond projects. Everything else is just icing on the cake. Two of my responsibilities at these meetings include keeping one of my eyes on the agenda, all while keeping the other eye on the clock to do my best to get as much of our work completed and still get us out of here in 2 hours. I try to be liberal in my handling of remote participation and speakers, but request that my good graces not be taken advantage of. I believe it's better to be inclusive rather than exclusive. Before we get into the rest of our business, I wanted to introduce our brand new superintendent, give her a chance to say hello. And it's the first time in a very long time we've had a superintendent attend one of our meetings voluntarily.
Voluntarily. I am here. Hello, everyone. How are you? My name is Cheryl Cotton, and again, I've started June 20th as superintendent of West Contra Costa Unified School District. I'm so glad to be here. I have to tell you right now, I am not feeling my best. And so I dropped in and let Dawn know I'm dropping in to say hello, introduce myself, and then that's all I've got. You hear the last little bit of me today. Let's see, my background is I'm actually a graduate from West Contra Costa. I went through elementary, middle school, and high school, graduated from El Cerrito High School. Went on to attend UC Berkeley for my undergrad, Mills College for my master's in teaching credential. Yes. Go Bears. I have had quite a journey through my educational experience, beginning with quite a journey, starting teaching in Oakland, from Oakland to New Haven Unified School District. Worked for a year with a nonprofit organization. It was the Bay Area Coalition of Essential Schools, which became the Coalition of Equitable Schools, which is now the National Equity Project. That year felt like 5 with them and learned a lot that year, and was leading our Leading for Equity retreats, and also managing a group of teachers through West End. So it was quite exciting. After that year with them, I decided I was ready to become a principal. I got my administrative credential, went ahead and took a step into administration and became a principal in San Francisco District. I was there for 3 years. It was quite an exciting time. I think at that time, Kamala Harris was the Attorney General, and or the district attorney. Gavin Newsom was mayor. It was quite a buzzing moment. I was one of the principals of our dream schools that was superintendent at that time, and put into place that constitute a school, which is break everything down and start from the beginning down, and all of a faster done. And
No, I'm not, that's not, don't get me
Okay.
wrong, no, you got war.
From there, from San Francisco, I actually had my son, and he was actually a graduate also from West Contra Costa. But commuting to San Francisco and back with an infant, not really fun, not at all. At the time, West Contra Costa was trying out a shared principalship model. They decided in October it was not working, and they opened up 10 principalships. And with that, my mother had just retired from the district from 42 years. She says, you need to apply here, because this is ridiculous. And I did, and I ended up principal at Valley View. So I was principal there for 6 years.
Valley View parent right here.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, and it's one of my favorite experiences. Don't tell all my other schools. I mean, it is being recorded. So.
Right.
And forgetting that too. I left Valley View, went to Madeira for 2 years, and then was tapped and applied for a director position. So director of human resources for our certificated employees. I did that work for about 6 years here in West Contra Costa. From here, I left. In about 2018, I left and headed out to Albany. From Albany, I went to the Contra Costa County Office of Education as Assistant Superintendent of HR. Thought I had arrived, thought I was done. Made it to the county office. I loved the county office. I loved my experience there. And got a tap on my shoulder. that CDE was in need of a deputy superintendent of human resources and labor relations. It was a newly created branch at CDE. Can you tell the state superintendent no? No. So I ended up at CDE. So I've been there for the last 4.5 years. Quite happy supporting, starting off with human resources, labor relations, Office of Equal Opportunity, and our state special schools and diagnostic centers. There's a shift where I was able to get back to curriculum and supported also our professional learning support division, our assessment development and administration division, as well as our curriculum frameworks and instructional resources division. All those hot topics, ethnic studies, math framework, yeah, that was all me. So we shifted then also to multilingual support division, but then learned about West Contra Costa. And while I was not looking for a position, this is a place that I love, and this is a place that I call home. I live in San Pablo. My son graduated in 2021 from Middle College High School. He went to school all the way through, and it was time for me to come home. And I'm hoping to bring my skill set, all the things that I've learned and experienced. Before coming to West Contra Costa, while in West Contra Costa, and I've been gone about 7 years. So coming back here again, it feels like home, but home is different. You know, it's like going for college and you come back and you're like, where did you put my room? So I'm trying to get a better sense of where we are now and really assessing that and understanding that. And so CBOC is a big part of that conversation, understanding what we're doing with our sites, and how we are moving forward, how are we leveraging our sites to do the work that we need to do. That is of great interest to me. And so on any other night, I would be right here with you guys. I was really excited to sit in. I made my son get in the car and drive me. I said, I can't drive over here, but can you please bring me by? And so this is my quick welcome and my quick hello. I'm looking forward to working with you and just appreciate the work that you're doing.
Well, it's great to have you here. I've had the pleasure of knowing Cheryl for a few days, and I have great hope that what she's going to be able to accomplish here. She and I have already talked, including just about an hour ago, about getting together so that she can learn about our bond program in particular from a different perspective, different set of eyes, and especially the fact that I've been with the program now since 1998. It gives me a little bit more of a history with it. So I mean, I'm looking forward to that, and I just hope that you didn't burn any bridges on your previous job, so you have to go back there.
I'm not going back. There's no going backwards. However, we do have those resources that we can tap into as well.
Yes. And I need one little favor for you. If you mention again about your time at Cal, can you mention Go Bears with a little bit more enthusiasm?
If I wasn't sick, it would be an enthusiastic.
Okay.
But every time I mention Cal, you'll hear at least a little Go Bears.
Now,
That is one of my, it was a.
I'm in a lot of groups and I never hear anybody say go Stanford, but
Don't you, right?
yeah,
I
like
heard
they're
that as well.
ashamed.
We are.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you.
And just so you know, that last document on there is a long-awaited annual report. We're working very hard to update, become current on our annual reports.
22, 23.
Yes, yeah, we're now just now starting on the one after this. Okay, just the way timing works. And we still have one that's a little bit older. Our former chair, Lorraine Humes, volunteered to do it. She's been termed out, and I need to get a hold of her and try to be as nice as possible and tell her, I need this.
Okay, right, I'll be looking for that.
But anyway, it's just, so you can be smarter than the board, because they don't have this yet.
For like 24 hours, but I'm also probably not gonna read it in the next 24 hours.
Hey, it's not like I'm gonna give you a test.
Thank you. You guys, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Okay. Let's get on to roll call. I am here. Brendan Havenar
Here.
Okay, GMO. Andrew Butt is not here yet. I talked to him earlier today. He said he's gonna be here. Andrea Landon, she got sick last night. She begs off. Tashiana Johnson.
Present.
Look at you. I spoke with Lynn Johnson. She said that she would try to be at least a phone in on her way home, and that she's supposed to come here in person when she gets here. Keep in mind, she doesn't get off until late, and she's coming from Oakland. And Bill Kloss here. Okay. And we have 5 out of our 8. We have a quorum. Okay, have we taken a look at the agenda? Is there anybody that has a problem with the agenda as it's been laid out? No. Hearing none, we will approve the agenda as presented. Bear with me, please. We are still missing our secretary, and so unless anybody just wants to jump up and say, I want to do it, I will continue to take care of the minutes until we have a full complement of CBOCers, which should be possibly by next month. And then I'll be leaning on somebody to volunteer. Okay, do we have any comments from the public?
I see no hands at this time.
No hands at this time. Okay. And bear with me while I write. I'm trying to make sure that I can actually write where I can read it again 2 hours from now. It's a different, Jesus, here I said it and I still can't read it. All right, we're gonna turn things over to Ellen to give us some progress reports.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Happy summer, AKA construction season. My name's Ellen Mejia Hooper. I'm the Director of Facilities Planning and Construction. And tonight we have the project status update. One more time for the good times. All right. So let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. That's better. The projects that we have in design are Stige campus rebuild, Kennedy modernization, Richmond modernization, and Pinole Valley. This is the little section of the hillside. We have for our 3 top projects, for the most part, we are working on construction documents. That is the time in design where you change from trying to figure out the actual design of the buildings, and it really is the time that the architects spend to draw the details of how to put that building together. So it's less of an input session, which is fine because we're now in summer. And so it's really the architect moving forward and getting down all of the details so that we can submit to the state. So our next step after construction documents is submission to the Division of State Architect, who reviews our plans. And then we go through, they would be the one that would basically allow us to build or permit our designs. So that's where those are. Pinole Valley is in that DSA review right now. We have been told many times that we're in final QC of their comments. So here's hoping. Next month, I'll have a different report. For construction, we have Lake Shannon, Stige, and Kennedy. And as always, we bring pictures for the construction components. Any questions on the chart?
Before you go to the next thing, just everybody, I've handed out a printed copy of our annual report that Brendan put together. We're not going to discuss it tonight, but just so you know what you got, if you want to be thumbing through it while you're listening to some of the reports.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Lake Elementary School is a full rebuild. We are on phase 2 of the project, and we are getting ready to open our kinder buildings. So our kinder buildings are planned to be open for first day of school this year. So things are getting finished up. From the previous month, we now have the floor that's in, we have the ceiling tiles that are in. We are starting commissioning of the HVAC, which you can't really tell from the picture, but that's happening. And we're testing our other systems. And so we are gearing up to open these classrooms. We are also working hard to finish up the playground area that's between the two buildings. So these are two classroom wings for kinder. And this rock area in the middle is a little turf space. There's a play structure area with soft surface, but you can see that we've been able to complete the asphalt as well as the overhangs now have a roof on them, as well as the light fixtures installed. So things are moving along on the exterior as well as the interior. This is another view a little further down the way. They're working on compaction there, but this open area that you see is going to be part of the play structure. And the multi-purpose room cafeteria will not be available at the beginning of the school. It's a little further behind than the two kindergarten buildings, so we will continue to do food service as we did last year during phase one. However, that building is coming along. We've taken the scaffolding down that was up to be able to apply the stucco to the underside of the outdoor dining patio. Now that is complete and has been painted. You can see that the rebar is getting the initial layout in this picture to be able to do the prep work before laying the concrete.
Do you have an estimated time when the cafeteria will be ready?
It's looking like October,
Okay.
October, November,
October, okay, I should say October 1 or October 31st.
somewhere in there. Beyond the cafeteria, we also have the playground for the big kids and the turf field on the far side. So we still do have quite a bit of site work. It's not 100% sure if we'll wait to finish all the site work as well, or if we'll have phased openings. So it kind of depends on how the construction finishes up.
Okay.
All right, interior of the multi-purpose room cafeteria. This is in the dining space. We have the proscenium that you can see is painted this really fun teal color. So our interior painting is in progress. We have the ducts that have been installed. The ceiling has been painted. The beams were sealed, sanded and sealed. So things are coming together in the dining space. The kitchen still has a ways to go for bringing in the equipment. So that was Lake. Stige is our next project. It is a cafeteria kitchen. And so for those that aren't sure why we're building a cafeteria at Shannon, this portable right behind here is the current cafeteria. So that's what we are working on replacing with the new cafeteria. But the change since last month is, you can see we've now installed the columns and the support steel for the outdoor canopy that will be the cover to be able to come into the this side of the multi-purpose room. And the roll-up doors are now in, the cowl walls up. The door frames have been painted. Down. This is an interior shot. So last month we were just finishing up the tape of the drywall. Now that's been completed. We have the furring strips up that will hold the acoustic panels that are going up on the ceiling there. You'll see we have the ductwork and the lighting bar installed. So things are coming along here. This again is probably in the late fall, early winter for a completion. Stige Elementary School for the rebuild. Demolition is underway. So we have the portables, all except one portable has been removed. They are working on, they're gonna start with the multi-purpose room at the far end and come around the perimeter buildings to complete the main demolition. They'll do the abatement process first, followed in by the structural demolition component and then the outfall. So that'll be the approach there. Kennedy High School. we are also demolishing, due to the magic of how far in advance we put together the agenda. I wasn't able to get you any more of the demolition except for this initial one. But we they had the plan that they were going to start in basically the atrium space and then work both ways down the 100 and 200 building at the same time. That's currently in process. The 100, all of the vertical elements have been removed at this point in time. The 200, we have one little wall remaining. And then next is the 500 building. So it's progression is occurring.
Before you move on to the next page, just a quick update. I just came from there just a little bit ago, and on that main picture there, what you're seeing with the white excavator, well, the excavator is still there, but that building's gone. Well, it's not quite accurate. It's a big pile of rubble. That rubble got to be 15, 18 feet high, several piles of it. And the building on the right, what you're seeing right now doesn't exist anymore, but there is the wall. They've got to do what's on the other side. If somebody sneezes, that wall's coming down. But it's unbelievable how quickly they've been able to turn that very large pair of buildings into just piles of rubble. They had 4 excavators going, 3 large ones and 1 small one. But it's going very quickly. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, this is the part of demolition where they're like, oh, it happened so fast. And it's like, yeah, just ignore the last 2 months and the next month because that has nothing to do with it. So this is the deceptively quick portion of it. We do have a lot of activities that happen before and after. Off-haul started in earnest today, so those piles of rubble are getting removed, and so it is exciting though. It's
Actually,
very exciting.
what you just described was what they did mostly on Saturday.
Yeah.
With loading stuff, and they had a long line of trucks, you know, fill them up, ship them out, move the next one forward all day long. And I made the mistake of leaving for a few minutes, and while I was gone, they said, hey, let's gut that other part of the building while he's gone. So I didn't get pictures of that, but I will be sharing a lot of photographs of what you're seeing there later tonight and tomorrow. Plus some very brief video clips. Yeah, 10 seconds here, 15 seconds there. Once you're seeing them, grab a hold of a pile, drag it over to the truck and dump it, and then go back over it all gets to be the same. But you hear the noise, that's what makes it exciting.
All right, so Richmond High. We do have the utility make ready package that's currently in the Division of State Architect as well as the California Geological Survey. Those 2 agencies need to do an approval before we're allowed to start construction of that project. But as soon as that comes in, that is where we're heading next. And in general, we have our regular status reports. We have started this one for the phase 1.1, 1.2. So this is the current phase that we're under construction. This really reviews the scope of the project and a lot of the contract components. So when did it start? Who are the entities that are involved in the project? So we have the owner, the design build, construction manager, and inspector. And then we have the breakdown of where we are in the billing. And so I know this one's the first one we've seen for here. We also do a quick summary of activities last month and what's coming up. So this one's new this month. But Lake is an oldie but a goodie. Everybody loves it, I'm sure. And then we have Shannon, again, that's been around for a while here. And we have our construction newsletters, which, and Steege, we included a little video for. So if you see the non-electronic version, you'll be able to watch that. And then we have eventually Kennedy. And we have like, we should also have, yes, Shannon bringing up the end. So Melissa sent me a chat.
So, quickly, I'll share that for anybody who wants to receive the newsletter, there's some really quick questions that you can fill out, and then we add you to the distribution list. And so, or if anyone is interested in receiving them that's here, if you just let us know, we'll add you. And then they do come, to your email, so you can get kind of those ongoing updates on the project. And as, huge shout out and appreciation for the feedback that we received at the last CBOC meeting about not just including pictures, but also trying to put together videos in ways that really kind of draw the audience in. And so Miss Ellen has put some videos. We got a video in the newsletter. She found a way to create kind of some transition slides that we'll be showing at the board meeting on Wednesday. And so really want to make sure that, you know, anyone that's interested has access to the information and just the appreciation for the feedback. We really want to be responsive to that and continue to present information in ways that draws in, a broader audience. So thank you for that. Any questions on the project report?
Yeah, that's my question. Okay, before you get back to you, I got some things to say. Do we have any questions on what Ellen presented? Nobody?
Is there a date for the opening of the Lake campus?
So we are opening the kindergarten buildings for the first day of school.
Right.
But the other part, we don't have a final completion date yet for the rest of the project.
You're not planning like a ribbon cutting for the K building, are you?
I would say not at this time. And so,
Okay.
yeah, we will definitely let you
Would be
know if the
approving
plan
that for the-
changes.
for the-
Yeah, so we had the one last year before we opened up at the beginning of the school year. And then the plan was to do the second one at the completion of the phase. And so that would be, around, October, November. And if we do anything, before we open the Kinder Street, we'll definitely be sure to share that information and let you know.
Okay. Anything else? Yes, please.
I'm just a member of the public, but I want to say thank you for including the just budget and cash projections and expenditures on the project. I still feel like I need to read through this on my own. And then the question is, I really appreciate all of the just updates on the construction. Before the construction happens, is there work done with the Department of Family and Community Engagement to do feedback with the community?
So, I mean, we do a lot of different avenues. We definitely ask them for advice about how to advertise when we do either community meetings or open houses. I know at Richmond, we've had a couple different input sessions with third-party providers, which are the providers that are part of the that are sponsored. I don't know if sponsored is the right word, supported by the that office. So we do keep in contact with them. I don't know if we specifically I can't remember what you said in your wording, but those are the ways we involve that department.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I just wanted to talk real quickly about my experiences on the demolition of Stige and Kennedy High School. I will be providing written commentary along with photographs, but I don't want to waste too much of your time. But at Stige, but I'm sure that plenty of women like seeing demolition just as much as guys do, but it's kind of inbred into us. We like seeing you tear down things. So I was very pleased that the project manager from Alton allowed me on site. I mean, we talked a number of times. I stayed a respectable distance away, 75 to 100 feet. And I'm not gonna get in the way of excavators. I don't want to say, hey, where'd Don go? Oh, he's in the truck now. But it was interesting to see what they were doing. Yeah, the big excavator taking big chunks out of the portables and then smashing things to smithereens. They separate the material into structural steel, galvanized steel, wood and insulation type stuff. And then periodically they would bring in 40-foot long dump trailers to put everything into. I learned at least at Kennedy High School stuff, they're shipping it up to Vacaville. I don't know about Steve's where they shipped it up to. But they're near the end of the demolition. I was bringing to the attention of the project manager some of the comments that were made at the previous school board meeting about the materials that the employees felt was theirs, that they were no longer having access to it. And I'll just say that his position changed. He suggested that I should take all my pictures from outside the fence line. Yeah. And I said, well, fine, but again, their house, I thanked him once again for his accommodations. Funny thing is, once I'm on the other side of the fence line, I'm standing on my ladder. Instead of being 75 to 100 feet away, I'm 15 feet away from the excavator. Got great pictures that way. But again, it was interesting on there. I dropped by. One little thing they did that I thought was cool. They would have a roll of cyclone fence. They grab a hold of it and use it kind of as a broom or a mop to clean things up. It's remarkably fast and efficient. I've never seen that before. But before I came here tonight, I swung by and the one building that Ellen spoke of, they've got it encapsulated in plastic so they can start removing the asbestos that's inside before they actually demolish the building itself. The asbestos has to go to a toxic waste site. Most of those, I think there's a couple of them still down in the deep southern part of Central Valley here in Bakersfield, Kettleman City. It costs a fortune to dump stuff there, so you don't want to dump any more than you absolutely have to. If you're just talking about the wood structure and the structural steel, as long as it's not contaminated, that can be dumped in a regular dump site. Now at Kennedy High School, I went there Friday night, and the project manager that's a really good guy. And he welcomed me. He's very accommodating and providing me all kinds of access and such like that. I took quite a few pictures of what they were doing. Unfortunately, most of the demolition had been completed, so it was just cleanup. But nonetheless, I'll be sharing the videos and some of the photographs with you on that. I look forward to, hopefully I'll be able to take pictures once they get all that equipment and get those piles of debris out of the way. I can take pictures of the 500 building when they start demolishing it from the street. I'm not there on Cutting Boulevard. And if anybody's worried about my own safety, there's plenty of room there. And if they want to start hitting me, they've got to hit some trees and light posts before they get to me. A few of them I think might be aiming at me. But anyway, it was interesting, and I look forward to seeing things as they progress. The community is interested in what is happening at both those schools. I get calls and emails and texts every day, 5, 10 of them a day. They want to know what's going on over there. When I was at Steege, I'm on the pathway on the east side, and came across a guy named Benny that was one of the original Steege students when it opened up. That was cool. Yeah, we talked, turns out, of course, he knows all my relatives. He knows, I thought I knew a lot of people in Richmond. He knows everybody else in Richmond. Been around here for a while. But again, it was very, very interesting talking to him about that. I came across a lady and her little son tonight. They wanted to know what they're doing here. People want to know. It's not like a lot of the other projects that are being built. People are interested in it. They want the news to get out. So anyway, I will do what I can to keep you all informed from my perspective, including pictures and videos. I fully expect that, and maybe tomorrow, that front building of Kennedy will be this big pile of rubble. Cleaning up is a different story, but that thing's ready to fall. If somebody sneezes too hard, it's going to go down. So, anyway, on the financial reports, we did not get financial reports last month. We did not get financial reports this month in our packets. Okay, Melissa has provided handouts at the table of those reports. If she wants to report on anything, I welcome that. But because the public did not have access to this information, I don't want a full-blown sort of Q&A on that. I mean, you want to ask a minor question, that's one thing, but, and I do not fault Melissa on this at all. She and I talked about this. She's doing everything that she can. There are things that are out of her control on this, but we both agree we do not want to issue financial reports that we cannot guarantee are accurate. And that is one of the problems we've got. And so before we get too far too, since I'm singing Melissa's praises, we talked about this last month. We asked Melissa, can you get us copies of it? She got us copies of it today. So this is a positive thing for us here. As I appreciate all the work that Melissa does. She works very closely with me. I try to work as closely with her. And you listen to her, she's always volunteering her staff to do things for me. Like they've got nothing better to do. I appreciate the thought. So anyway, I'll turn it over.
Thank you. One thing I do want to share just for the broader public, and those that might watch in the future, safety is a top priority. We have heavy construction and demolition happening at these sites and they are closed. So there is no access to these sites unless you have the permission and the approval. And so I just want to clarify that. For anyone who might also want to snap some good pictures, just know they are closed construction sites. If there are specific requests, definitely reach out to the district.
Sorry, I did get permission.
Absolutely.
And I
wanted to clarify that for anyone that might think, hey, that's great. I want to go take some pictures too.
I'm even wearing long pants because I was on the construction site and I wear steel toe shoes, my safety vest and hard hat. So I know fully it's their house, their rules. They say, stop. That's no argument, no question about it. And I'm going to stop and do whatever they tell me to do.
What about lemonade? They still want my lemonade stand up.
Outside the area.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that's still a go, because I'm waiting for the middle of July, like y'all say.
We're here. This is the middle of July.
Almost,
It's the 14th.
It is. I'll wait tomorrow, 15th, that's half of 30. Sorry.
So I just wanted to say that, and that is correct. But I did just want to share that, safety plans are absolutely critical. And, we also have to follow those, as staff to make sure that everyone's safe.
I want to add something on safety, which we've had a lot of our construction sites that things on the ground. Well, I felt they could have been a lot better. At Kennedy High School on Saturday night, near the end of shift, they are out there sweeping up the drop-off zone and the sidewalk. I'm thinking, first thing Monday morning, it's gonna be exactly like it was 10 minutes ago. I mean, it's not like it was tripping hazards or anything like that. It was just minor little debris on there, but they were sweeping it up, and I gotta hand it to them on that. That impressed me. I'm not seeing that as frequently as I would like it, because safety really is number one. As I've been in construction for a long time, and I've seen too many people die because of unsafe acts. I don't want to see that anymore. Good.
Thank you. The other thing I have to just say quickly, I truly appreciate the partnership from everyone. But I definitely don't deserve the credit. I represent an incredible team. And so I want to shout out to the team, the superintendent's office for providing the handbooks. And so I'm really happy to be able to share the financial reports with you tonight. But I think the things that we do because we work together. And I do want to thank the CBOC for their partnership and great advice. So we hope that you'll watch the board meeting or join us on Wednesday night. Ellen will be doing the annual facilities master plan update and incorporating some combined images to highlight all of the different bond projects, some that we've completed and some that are still going in the annual report on Wednesday. And so with that, I'll get started with the financial reports. As Dawn mentioned, we did not have these reports at the time that they were due, and we also didn't have them at the time of posting. But a significant amount of work went into place to make sure that they would be accurate and available for you here tonight. So I'll spend some time going over the May report, just to do some place setting, and then the June report is very similar. So the first report that we see here, this is through May 31st. And so this first page, it's basically your agenda. And so when you look on the right-hand side under notes where you see the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, those numbers then correspond to the pages inside of the report, providing you with the detail that supports that really big number. Our bond program goes back to 1998, and so you will see some footnotes here. The financial information that we present to you goes back to fiscal year 0, and so this is 25 years of our program represented here. Another good thing that's just place setting when you're looking at bond financial reports, and in particular kind of project accounting, is it's multi-year. And so a lot of times when you're looking at financial reports for a school district, they kind of neatly fit in fiscal years. We of course are here at a school district and proud to be, but construction accounting is always multi-year. And so as you look at this report is our cash projection through June of 2029. And so those are the figures that you see reflected here. And so as we kind of turn the page and dive into the details of the report, on page 2, you'll see at the top, that's note 1. So that's our adjusted cash balance. And so that total amount that you see there is just the one figure that you see on your agenda page. And then you can also see that there are comments that provide detailed notes explaining essentially all of the other figures that are represented here. And so number 2 are projected revenues. And so again, this forecasts the multi-years. We know that for Measure R, we have one more issuance of $250 million, which is currently planned to take place in fiscal year 2027. There are also some interest earnings that we accrue on the dollars that we have sitting in fund balance, and we make some projections for those here as well. And then down at the bottom is note 3, and note 3 talks about the budget balance. And so this gives you some details about, as we talked, these expenses that we look at go all the way back to fiscal year 0. And it also gives you some clues of how these reports interact with each other. They each kind of have a different intent and a different lens, I would say, that they're providing, but they all work together and are integrated one into the other. And so you can see there, when it talks about the board approved budget being on report 2, we have a report that really just focuses on that lens. And so if you wanted to really dive more into board approved budgets and understand them, we have a report that provides that focus. The next item, note 4, is our state facility grants. We're really proud of the proactive nature that we've sought state dollars. We have received over $220 million from the state. And so as the community has been so incredibly supportive over the years with the local bonds, we use those dollars to then leverage additional state dollars whenever we have the opportunity to do it. So if there's a state facilities grant out there, we're going to apply for it. And then we're going to continue to apply for it everywhere we have the opportunity. In November, Prop 2 was successful, which was incredible at the ballots because it put additional funds at the state. And so you see here, there are 5 different applications. Essentially, we can submit the application once we have approval from the Division of the State Architect. And so we submit them as soon as we can. You can see the dates that they're submitted, and they were on a workload list. What's exciting is with Prop 2 being approved in November, all of these grants are within the funding authority available at the state. And so we will continue to wait for our turn in line and continue to work closely with the state to try to bring additional state dollars here to West Contra Costa. And then we have our note 5. So in 2016, we had our facilities master plan. that took the $181.8 million and identified specific budgets, mostly assigned to sites. That's when it was determined, based on the board's approval, that the rebuilds would be happening at Michelle Obama and at Lake and at a number of the other priority sites. There were going to be what we call critical needs projects. So we saw earlier in the presentation at Shannon, that's the new cafeteria building. At Hercules, that was the new science building. So kind of different scopes based on the site's needs. And then what you have in the last column is the current budget. And as we scroll down and follow some additional notes, we try to keep score for you. And so as things change over the years, since we're representing about 25 years of data, we've captured here for you every change that's been made going back to June of 2016 for those different budget adjustments that have taken place. And so whenever there's a change, our project budgets are approved by the board. And any change to the budget requires the approval of the board, whether that's an increase or decrease. And so we have all of the historical board actions referenced here. Then we had Measure R back in 2020. And so with the approval of Measure R, there were new dollars to be assigned. And so there was a prioritization process, and ultimately we see here how the Measure R dollars have been allocated at Kennedy and Richmond High School. And again, we have below there kind of that historical board approvals as it has changed over time. Last page. So this is a favorite, and this is to the credit of a previous CBOCer who at the completion of 6 years did move on. But one of the things, she brought her expertise. She was an accountant. And so what she would do is she would take the report from month to month and she would calculate the variance. Because when you're looking at these very big numbers over such a long period of time, she felt like really the question before the CBOC is, what happened since I met with you last month? Tell me what changed in these numbers. And so she would kind of keep her own variance notes. And so that ultimately then became this financial report that we do. That's the report 13 variance. And so at the top, it tells you kind of the month, the last previous month, and then it tells you to the next month. And so this is really the actions that took place in the month of May. And what we see when we look at that is we can see that part of what happened in May is that we had a burn rate of $6 million, 6.3. So we see that there. So we know how much we expended from the bond fund in that month. We also see that there were pooled earnings that were received based on the funds held. And then the last item, LAVE, so local agency investment fund, that's managed by the county, and those are additional funds that we received. You can also see that in May, it was at the May 28th meeting when the board approved some changes to the budgets. And so that's reflected there. And so this is a great way to get a snapshot of the action that takes place if you were just looking at a particular month. And one of the things that we're going to be producing so that we can share this information for a particular fiscal year to help support the annual reports is we're going to produce a variance report that'll be a fiscal year. So this variance report gives you a snapshot of what took place in a month. At the conclusion of the fiscal year that we're currently closing, we'll be producing this variance report for the fiscal year, and it'll show you the amount we expended, the amount we received in interest, any board changes to budget, etc. And so that's this report. And as you kind of look at the different things that it captures, it's those major bullets that we looked at that connect back to that agenda page. This next report is report 2. I'll tell you, for those of you that are new, this is actually the Dawn report. Dawn wanted to see the bond program on a single sheet of paper. And so we cheated and used both sides. because that's what it takes. But, you know, he really wanted to have a way to express the bond program on a sheet of paper. And so what this report does is it summarizes every single site. And so you'll see there's some general organization where the elementary schools are first, followed by the middle schools, and then the high schools, and then some of the closed sites and central sites are in the back. Go ahead.
I do have a question. I'm
Sure.
just not familiar with Harmon Knolls. It says that it's a surplus location. What exactly does that mean?
So great question. So Harmon Knolls is a district property. Harmon Knolls currently doesn't have a building on it. As part of the 2016 facilities master plan, there was some testing that was done at Harmon Knolls to determine if it was a site that would be suitable for the new construction of a facility. At the time, the consideration being Highland is nearby. So the idea being, if in the future there were bond funds and the board approved for the rebuild of Highland, that the new Highland campus could be built at Harmon Knolls.
That's what the soil was tested there.
That's why the soil was tested there. There is another committee that's been on a hold. It needs to be recommissioned. It's called the 7-Eleven Committee, and that's a committee commissioned by the board to evaluate, essentially within the scope, there are 4 properties. Harmon Knolls is one of them, to then make a recommendation to the board if they believe the site should be surplused. And so the committee's work has not been completed. There was a draft report, but that committee will need to be reconvened to then finalize the report, present the, you know, prepare the draft, present it to the community, finalize it and bring it to the board. So hopefully that answered your question. So when we look at the columns at the top,
I'm sorry, I need to.
Yeah.
I want to make one quick correction. Harmon Knolls has not been declared surplus. That is actually a technical term. The board has to declare it as surplus, because once that happens, then it opens up the doors for a lot of other things. We all know it's surplus, but there's been a very strong effort not to declare it surplus, because there's high hopes from the president of the neighborhood council there that tomorrow morning they're gonna come up there and build him a new school there, even though there's no money for it. So whether it ever gets declared surplus or not is questionable, but it's not until the process of public meetings and the board hearings, and then they say it is surplus. So it's just unused right now.
And the soil testing was 448,000.
can you tell me what page that you're on?
I'm on page, oh my goodness, report number 2. 1 of 2. In Harmon Knolls, it says board approved budget. I'm looking at the 6/30/2025, 448,435. I'm not sure if that's just like in total, or if that was discussion.
So here, right?
It's the Dawn
Yeah, it's right there.
report,
Oh, yeah.
the first page.
First page.
Oh, it's up here.
So great question. So that is not the cost of just the soils testing. So excellent question. One that I will help to answer when I do the columns, if that's okay.
Okay.
So this represents everything that took place at the site going back to fiscal year 0. So since July of 1999. So you have the site name there, and then original budget, and there is an asterisk, so that was a budget defined at a moment of time. And then the next column identifies the board approved budget through the last time the board made a change. So the last time the board approved an increase or a decrease to a budget was on May 28th of 2025. And so the next column gives you expended. And so this identifies every expenditure made at that site through the previous fiscal year, meaning we've closed it. So once we complete the year-end closing, those expenses are locked in time. You can't change expenses from a previous fiscal year. The next column says expended, and that's for fiscal year 24-25, which is our current fiscal year. And so that column tells us the amount that we've spent, and since this report is through May 31st, it says through May. And so that's the amount that we spent this current fiscal year.
Okay, got it.
And then the next column, when it says expended total through May 31st, that's the total of those two columns. So that's the total amount that was expended. If you take all previous fiscal years plus the current fiscal year, you get the totals column. The next column is called the committed balance. And what a commitment means, or if dollars are committed, it means either they're included in a contract or they've been included in a purchase order. So a purchase order is like the purchase of things, goods, materials, equipment, contracted services. And so that means those dollars are committed. So they're part of an existing contract, board approved contract or purchase order. And so then what remains, if you take the board approved budget and you subtract what's been spent and what's been committed, you end up with your budget balance, the dollars that are remaining for that site to then be committed, right? And so the last column gives you a footnote, and at the bottom are the footnotes. And so you'll notice a lot of the footnotes are footnote 1, which means all of the projects for that site that are within this board approved budget, they've been completed. So you shouldn't expect any additional action for those sites. And then there's other footnotes that tell you, is this kind of a project that's in planning construction or closeout? Like what is the status of that project? And so at the very bottom of this, you see there's that grand total line, the green line. So some of those very big numbers, you can track those back to the report 13. So when you look at report 13 on the front page and it's identifying like the overall board approved budgets and the total amount that's been expended, the detail that supports that on a site by site basis is included here in report 2. And so you ask an excellent question because, for example, with Kennedy, we had the Kennedy Critical Needs Project, which is active, which was the demolition, and then the Kennedy Modernization Project. And it's just one line for Kennedy when you look at this report. So you get all of the information together. And so excellent question. But that represents all of the bond dollars spent at Harmon Knolls through the entirety of the program.
Say, Dulce had a hand first.
Yes, now I lost track. Oh, the bond. So with, is connected to the question. Harmon, so you mentioned the surplus, this refers to Surplus Land Act, correct? With, you mentioned that the board needs to designate it as surplus, it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
But this is, when I hear surplus, I think of Surplus Land Act. Is this part of that
I
process?
can't say that it is. Maybe you can answer that.
So the 7-Eleven committee is looking at 4 different properties that were identified and following the process of making a determination of if they recommend the site to be surplused by the district. And so at this time, there hasn't been a recommendation made to the broader community or to the board. And so that's kind of where the committee ended up kind of on a hold. So at this time, there are no sites that have been deemed surplus. But there are 4 sites that were being reviewed by the 7-Eleven committee and will be reviewed by the newly convened 7-Eleven committee to then make that recommendation to the board.
Okay, so this is under the autonomy of the 7-Eleven committee, not like a statewide legal definition of surplus.
So I want to connect it in that the surplus definition, I'm sure, is very similar. What what the Ed Code provides is that a committee of 7 to 11 people, and it provides some designations of categories, that the process that Ed Code outlines is that a committee is formed, and then they walk through a series of steps. It's kind of clearly outlined in the Ed Code, and then they make a recommendation. And so they make their recommendation in the form of a report to surplus the site or not to surplus the site. And then that recommendation is presented to those communities so they can receive public comments through a public hearings process. And then ultimately the committee finalizes their report, which is the committee's recommendation.
Okay.
Then the committee would make that recommendation to the board in a report, and ultimately the board makes the decision and would need to then take action to deem a site surplus.
Okay.
Just so you know, the other three sites, you've got the former Portala site on Mosier and El Cerrito. You've got Adams, which is in County Land Middle School, and then you've got Seaview, which is in Terra Hills.
Okay.
And I'm happy to share with you, there is a 7-Eleven committee website that has some of the work that they've done and some
It
of
hasn't
the
been taken
information
down
that's been
yet?
presented. So we do have a new relaunching of our website. And so, I haven't been on that website recently, but I can definitely check that after and share the information.
Okay.
Everything is 404 not found.
I know.
Cause I always will like go to our CBOC site while I'm here. And even the annual report, everything is just not found at the moment. But if you'd like to join a different committee, that page is up.
I will be reporting on the 404 sites a little bit later, because they have major impact on us today. Like that. Bill, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I had a quick question. How does something like in Fairmont, the original budget and then the approved budget is significantly less?
So the original budget was a moment in time. And so when there's an approved budget, it can either get bigger or smaller. And so that original budget is something that the previous CBOC asked be captured. And so it's kind of like a time marker. And so the board approved budget that's represented in the next column is the one that tracks with the current board's approval.
So they take money away.
So they can, they
did,
can,
that's what
they
they
can
did there.
decrease the budget.
That's what they did.
Absolutely. Mhm, mhm.
Okay. And when are they gonna make a decision on this for surplus sites?
So the committee needs to be reconvened, to then move forward with the work. And hopefully that's something that, as we get the school year going, we'll be able to move that forward.
The law says you must have a minimum of 7, but no more than 11 members, and we lost 3 out of the 7 that we had. So we,
Oh, you're on that committee.
yes,
Oh.
I'm everywhere.
How she wants to follow you.
You Don everywhere.
what's
You
it-
do.
I'm sorry, by the way, that page is one of the few that you can get, although there's no information on there. There's a YouTube link, okay, but no other information.
Yeah, there was a lot.
But at least it's not no 404.
Well, once it's committed, once it's designated surplus, what does that mean if it's designated surplus?
Goes to, I'm sorry.
Goes to sale?
No,
No, I'm sorry. If it's declared surplus, then the board has to decide what has to happen to it. Is it sold? Is it traded? Is it turned into workforce housing? Is it donated to a
affordable
park?
housing.
I mean, yeah, there's any number of things that can happen to it, but that is solely in the hands of the board to make that decision. It is solely in the hands of the public to lobby them one way or the other. Right now, quite frankly, there's a strong push for workforce housing on there. But what they will do or not, because everybody loves a general concept, and then they start looking at the details, and it's a little bit harder to implement. But that's not up to us, that's up to the board on there. But there has to be 3 public meetings? Is it more than that?
So there are public meetings, so there are public hearings, which is a very particular type of public meeting, which requires like a noticing in the paper. And so when the committee prepares and approves their draft report, They will then convene and hold public hearings in the different communities to receive the public feedback as a committee. And then they will then incorporate that and finalize a report that they will approve. And then that report would then go to the board. And so then at that point, that's kind of what would begin the process of then the district could decide if they wanted to deem a site surplus or not.
We first started dealing with this in the fall of 2019. But we've had a problem with membership on the 7-Eleven committee. We had the full complement of 11 at one point. But then they just wouldn't show up. And then when all of a sudden the governor says you must show up in person, a lot of them just says, not me, not gonna show up in person. So we had to take in some new members. That slowed things down because you bring them up to speed. Now, when we reconstitute and bring in a minimum of 3 more people, you're gonna bring them up to speed. So it's not a quick and easy process. But that's 7-Eleven committee stuff. Let's get back to.
Yes, I'll wrap.
Hand up again?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
it's just a question or 2 questions. The interest earnings, I had a hard time seeing their exact use. I can see the amount, and this is on page 204 of the June 30th preliminary report. Is there a place where that is noted a little better?
It's an excellent question. And it kind of lends itself to our last financial report. So can I answer it in presenting this report quickly? So, this last report, it's our accounts payable checklist, and we can see at the top that this was for the month of May. And so this is when we get into the granular level. And so, the purpose of the CBOC is to review the expenditures of the bond program and to make sure that they're made in accordance with, ed code and the bond language, et cetera. And so what this provides for you is a detailed listing of every bond dollar and how it was spent. And so when we look at the first page and we can see it sorted by project, it identifies for us the contractor, the check number, the check date, and then there's that short account number. So this is part of the SACSA code, the standard accounts system that we use for the state. And so we can see the first 2 numbers is 21, that's the bond fund. The next 4 numbers are the resource. And so at the bottom of this report, there is a guide that tells you that those next 4 digits are the resource number. And so they'll tell you which bond measure it belongs to. If it's measure D, E, or R, or it might be 9790. And 9790 is our non-bond resource. And so that is the resource where we put interest earnings and where we put dollars received by the state. If you scroll down a little bit more, you can see. So when you see there where it shows the resources, when it says bond related other revenue, that is where interest earnings go. And so if you want to see exactly how each one of the different measures is spent or exactly what we fund using the bond related other revenue, you can look at the short account to get that information. The general answer to your question is central services. So services that are related to the project, but aren't specific project expenses, like for example, auditors, attorneys, other program management type expenses. Typically you'll see that'll have 9790 as their resource, and that's how you'll know that those dollars either came from state funds that we leverage through the program or from interest earning. But really what this report does is it just provides all of the details to understand essentially every dollar that's spent. And when you see that last site, 615, that's typically where you'll find some 9790 items. The next 4 digits are the object. The object in the account structure is basically telling you what they're doing, the types of services, and then the last number that's reflected there, that's the 3-digit number, which identifies the site. And so elementaries are 100, middle schools are 200, and high schools are 300. So, you know, it also gives you information about the invoice, the date, the amount, and then we have a general description of the services. And so that really identifies the checks that are sent out. And then the second page provides other details related to different things that we do. So we see that we have retention listed here, which is something that we do with construction contracts. There was a check batch that had to be voided, and so you can see that detail here. They were then reissued, and then there is payroll within the narrow limits of the Attorney General's opinion. The payroll is paid, but then you can see there are also adjustments made. So as staff members, if we are charging any of our time to the bond program, we have to keep a timesheet. And so our payroll is what we anticipated, the amount of time we would spend specifically on a bond project. Our timesheet reflects our actual, and then we do a journal to make sure that the bond isn't charged for time that wasn't spent directly on the bond project. And so that is the AP checklist that is presented there. And essentially, we also have tonight for you the June report that follow that exact same kind of formula that we just went through. The thing that I'll note for the June report, and I tell this joke every year and nobody laughs, but I can't help myself. So we're a school district and we live in a fiscal year. So we're July 1st to June 30. So we're officially in our new year. Happy New Year. And so what that means is you'll see on our June report, it's gonna say preliminary because we haven't closed the books. And on our July report, it'll probably still say preliminary because the books usually close in August and are completely closed before the Labor Day holiday in partnership with our business office. And so not until the books are completely closed do these numbers become final. And so that's why we will make that notation for you at the top. But this data does reflect the data in the system through June 30. And so it'll follow a very similar formula. And I thank you for the extended time tonight to really kind of walk you through these reports.
Last call, anybody have any questions? Public?
No hands at this time.
Okay,
I have a quick question.
go ahead.
Okay. You mentioned that, the district applies for state, funds as they become available. And there's a wait list and that we have to wait in line. What does that process look like? Like, is it like every district is given a number? Is it a lottery? Just quickly or briefly, it'll give me a good sense.
Yeah, it's a great question. So you basically stand in line and then the state works through the line in the order that it's received. So first received, right, first processed. And so the state also similarly, as they have funds available, they work through the list of grant applications. There are certain reasons why somebody can move to the top of the list in a hardship, like for example, when we had the fires and different things. But for the most part, if it's not a hardship application, you wait your turn in line. And then when it's your turn in line, you work very closely with the state to answer their questions. The good news is the language in Prop 2 and kind of our history is the numbers that we reflect there is our best guess of what our grant could be. For Pinole Valley High School, we submitted a $16 million grant and we were awarded over 23 million. And so when it's our turn in line, we'll work really closely with the state to try to get every extra dollar that we can. And as we have additional projects that have eligibility or maybe a new grant opportunity with the state, we'll submit those applications as well. So we can continue to try to get as many dollars as possible from the state and bring them here local to the district.
Put that state money into perspective. With the cost of elementary schools when we first started, that paid for 5 of our elementary schools. Free money.
I was gonna say. what
You and I
happens to the
are
rest
paying
of the
for it.
money.
Okay,
I was gonna say what happens to the rest, let's say you apply for a $16 million and they gave me 23. What happens to the rest of that?
They spent it.
Yeah, we bring it to the bond program and it's how we leverage our local dollar to go further.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now I understand what you're saying. You
Yeah.
said that the state leverage.
Do you have any envelopes already pre-printed to return the money? I just want to make sure it's clear, to be clear on the record here. Okay. All right, we've got a very little bit of time left for the entire agenda now. So if we have no more questions, this is important, but, okay, all right. We're into consent, and I'm just gonna mention some of these things on here. We have 2 new member applications that are being included here. Please pronounce your name properly for me.
Oh, Dulce,
Dulce, thank you.
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Dulce Galicia and Tanya Vargas, who is online. Okay, they will be interviewed this Friday morning. We have Allison Huey, which was
Afternoon, right? They got switched.
afternoon,
From morning to
sorry.
afternoon. Okay, just making sure.
Start out in the morning. No, it's
Okay.
afternoon. No, you're right. She's, yeah, the fix is in. All right, Allison Huey has already been interviewed. She is supposed to go before the board on Wednesday night. I'm optimistic they're gonna see the value in her that we did. And so we'll have a new member for the next meeting. If I can convince the board to put these 2 new applications on their agenda for the August 6th meeting, they can always pull it off of there if there's some problem, but if they can get that done, then we will have a full complement of people for our next CBOC meeting. We have not had a full complement of members in a lot of years. So this is a big thing. We used to have 28 members. We had 28 people on there all the time and a lengthy line of people waiting to get on. That was yesteryear. So anyway, those applications, the meeting calendar on there, I apologize. I didn't realize till over the weekend, I forgot to update the new dates after or starting in October. I'll take care of that when I get home. But hopefully it's not going to affect anything tonight. The rolling attendance log,
Can I just so quick?
sure.
It will not be going on Wednesday as she is still currently an employee. So I sent out an email
Okay,
Friday. And so when you are an employee of the district, you are not eligible to serve on the CBOC. I say I'm like a CBOCer in training, so one day. But at this time as an employee, she's ineligible. And so it's not going to the board on Wednesday.
appreciate you filling me in on that. I would hope we've heard that from her. But
And I sent an email and you're copied and she's copied on
Yeah.
the email. So if something changes, but
On
we
the other
had to
hand-
confirm that right before posting.
if, on the other hand, if they're still paying her, that's a good thing for her. Okay, item M is of critical importance. Because this will bring us up to speed on our minutes. It took a lot of work on my part. I don't expect any statues to be erected on my, looking me, but I feel positive about getting these things completed. If they're approved tonight, then that's a positive step for us. Okay, with regards to the consent calendar items, is there any objection to accepting them as presented? All the items are on the consent calendar. Hearing nothing? We're good. All right, good. All right, item N, annual reports. As I said, I provided the printed copy with lots of pictures. Now, I don't want to go into detail on what the printed version there. I only put pictures in of projects that were being worked on during that time period. Not before, not after. Okay, I went to to Ellen's reports, pull all the pictures from there as much. I left out the dull ones, you know, a ditch, okay?
Every ditch is exciting, Don.
Yes, it is, and when you put together your own agenda packet, you can put all those, or reports, you can do that too. Okay, the big project for that term was Kennedy High School sports field. That's why there's a little bit more pictures of there. The Pinole Valley sports field was being finished up. But also, those were just outstanding pictures. Earl Combs has a drone. We outlawed drones in Richmond, so we can't fly drones up there. Earl Combs took some great pictures from his drone. I love those pictures. But you also had Cameron and you had Lake. Okay, those were pretty much all that was included in there. But on item N, whatever, I mean, Tatiana brought up the fact that there was a draft, or not draft, a annual report from the City College of San Francisco that she thought that we might be able to use. If she wants to report on anything, it's been included in the agenda packet. It doesn't mean that we're not gonna take action on accepting or rejecting anything. We're just gonna discuss things. I put action item on there just in case we have something critical that we want to take action on. It gives us latitude. But between what you might want to report, plus if Brendan has anything to report on the agenda, I can't see that, so it doesn't exist.
Have it all laid out by us by page, for us by page.
I'm turning things over to you. Just keep an eye on that clock too. And speak loudly, because you went silent on us after you let one loud burst.
Sorry, I apologize about that, Dawn.
Thank you.
Oh, I will be mindful about that. I apologize. So I was looking at Brendan's report, which I absolutely love. It's very straight to the point. I really like the 10 key points, the 10 key takeaways. I really think that that's something that could go into our annual report. Tonight, I'm kind of hoping that we can discuss what we actually want, or maybe we can push it to our next meeting, but what we actually want in this report, and how many pages, because I kind of estimated, what would take up the most pages, what would take up the most space, about
Pictures.
6 to 8 pages. The forensic accounting summaries, the student teacher summaries, things about WCC USD, use of the bonds and, long-term cash projection. I figured that's something that you can do, Dawn. Absolutely. That's your alley. Bond sales and local property taxes, further information, the AP checklist, all of those things can be done in about 10 pages, I'd say. And then, but maybe we'll have a 20-page report. Even so, that's cutting it in half from 50 pages, it's about 25 pages. I feel like we have a huge district. So San Francisco City College, that's just one college, their annual report is 14 pages. That's realistic for a city college. But for a district like ours, just being realistic, we do need something about 25 pages, maybe 30 pages,
This one is what, 19 pages?
This one's 19.
And it's adding the pictures does add a lot.
Adding some of the things, the beautification that you'd love to see in it.
And I apologize, but I used empty space. You don't see any blocks of white there. I threw pictures in there, at the back of the cover page.
You're also a newspaper editor.
Well,
Yeah, you have a lot of skill over there. So if you could teach us those skills, and I'd be happy to do it. I'd be happy to learn how to create a beautiful annual report such as yours. But right now, we're just kind of talking about length and like what we all can commit to. I know I sent a message a few weeks ago, almost immediately after our last meeting, just kind of getting everybody's ideas on what is your capacity, what can you take on, what are you more knowledgeable about? Because when you initially brought the list to us, it was, I believe, A through P, QRS, it's A through P, one of those. It was quite a few items, If all of us, as I said, took 3 of those things, 4 of those things, and we ended up meshing them all together, you would have the final, of course, you would put together the final. But I think that we could do some good work. We could all take a item, take a topic, forensic accounting summary. We literally just received that. We have that currently this year. The student teacher summary, that's something that we can request. The use of bonds and long-term, we just got that. The AP checklist, we just got that. So a lot of things we actually have within our reach right now that we can use. Correct me if I'm wrong.
no, I'm
Okay.
agreeing with it, 1000%.
The cover, I really like how we're using the double pages because we're not taking up as much
I don't like to waste.
paper. Exactly. No,
Especially if
I
it's my
absolutely
paper.
love that. So I think that we would all probably vote on which school we would use for the cover, because I absolutely think that Hercules, that was an amazing school. I really, really loved like the space, and even just like, just telling people about that. I feel like that could be like The front could be, the school, and then the back could be, here are some cool key points that we considered while building this school. Even the solar outside, I love all of those different things, and we could put that all on this back page, you know? The CBOC summary, an introduction, that would be front and back. And then the appendix, we would definitely have to decide how many things we are putting in that appendix, because that would take it from the 50 pages to the 25. What are the most important things? What are so critical that the public needs in this report? I think that should definitely be something on our next agenda so that we can go on and get it squared off. I wish that we could do it today so that I don't have the other one pulled up from, I believe it was maybe 4 meetings ago, where it was in our agenda. It was in our agenda. You had a list of,
My list.
yes,
Okay,
your
yeah.
list, like a table of contents, basically, of what we would have in the annual report, what was needed. I think that we should revisit that list, and we already decided what wasn't going to make it from that list. But just collaborate and see, what we all can do. And just go from there. No more, are we going to, can we, no, this is what we're gonna do. We'll work on it, we'll have it done, and we'll present it as a team or as a group, a month from now at our next meeting.
At the, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
No,
You did done? Okay, at the very least, what I would hope for is that, we've got Andrea and Andrew here.
Mhm. Oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
yes, I mean, that's one of the main reasons I didn't really want to take action tonight on something, because they're important and valuable people, and they've been part of the discussion. I don't think we can wait to have our next 3 people on board. We need to move forward now. Doesn't mean, nothing is etched in stone. We'd be able to, but the fact that you love to throw more work on my shoulder, I'm gonna throw some work back on your shoulder. What you just held up on there, if you can draft some bullet points and provide it to me so we can share that, along with, I'll take that list I presented as well, so that we can review it in the comfort of our own homes and come back at the next meeting to discuss it and come up with something a little bit more concrete than what we have right now. Does that sound like a plan?
That does. And I also just want to add, having our 3 new people could actually be a teaching experience. Because I know I haven't had anybody to just sit down and kind of do what I did miss our appointment. I'm so sorry about that. But it would have been nice to just kind of shadow somebody, do some research for them so that I can just kind of get the feel, you know? So, maybe partner up with one of our new members, each of us partner up with one of our new members and kind of work on it together. And I think that would be a great learning opportunity. But then we don't have people that just are completely out of the loop and completely lost for the next 2 months while we talk about this. They're actively involved, they're actively engaged. We're just formatting it and making it beautiful and wording it appropriately, according to our bond program. If that's something that everybody else would agree with.
I'm good with it. Brendan, you're part of the annual reports. Do you have anything to add or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think, we could also, break off into subcommittee and kind of chew some stuff up and then bring it back to the whole, and make a presentation and have a discussion that's already kind of, we've already thought through some things. We have some things for other members to reflect on, and then, we can have the starting point of that conversation in the big group is further along.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I'm happy to volunteer to meet with a small group, non-quorum, to do that.
I'll listen to that as well.
Speaking of quorum, as it stands right now, we cannot have more than 4 people on that conversation. Okay?
Four's good.
Yeah, I mean, 4 is fine. If you get that 5th in there, then you get your toothbrush because somebody's gonna haul you off to Brown Act prison. Okay? I've been there, it's no fun.
Yeah,
And-
one subcommittee, and then so there would have to be a second subcommittee, or.
Well, that's up to you guys. I'm staying out of this, letting you guys do it. I mean, I'm overseeing it. And I will help out as much as possible. But I've been burned badly before, on my involvement, even on putting things together. So I'm not anxious to be burned like that again. So I just let you guys take care of that. It's not like I don't have anything on my plate already. So, this is a collaborative effort. Everybody needs to do something. Let me finish real quickly. Once we get our full complement, you can have no more than 5 people in the group. You have the 6th person, get that toothbrush ready. Okay?
Are you able, I did reach out to San Francisco City College just to see if they could loan us their template for this, because I really loved it. But they sent me the report. They didn't send me the template. Maybe I'm doing it, maybe I'm pulling it wrong, I don't know. But are you able to create just the template for us then, while we're all doing the work?
I mean, I can take that report, for instance, and convert it to a Word document, which makes it editable. And I mean, that's easy peasy. It takes a little bit of, there's always glitches, but Glitch is my middle name.
All right, well, there you go, Mr. Glitch.
Okay, anything else on this? You had something, Andy.
Just as a community member, just want to confirm that the CBOC members produce the annual report. It is not an external, no consultant, no fancy anything. It is the members collectively working with your department to produce it.
You're 100% correct on
Okay.
that, but I need to tell you my perspective. I come from the building trades, okay? We are the highest paid craft out there. And contractors always wanted to use laborers to do some of our work. I don't farm out my work to other people, whether it's paid or unpaid. I'm not gonna bring in a consultant, a vendor, anybody that wants to offer suggestions, but we do the work. I say we as in you. Yes,
I believe the only outsourcing that they do is the forensic accountants,
oh,
correct?
yeah.
That produce the report. They sift through everything and we oversee that.
You keep saying forensic accountant. You're not talking about the performance audit and the financial audits?
Oh, yeah, that's what I am.
Okay, because forensic audit is 2015.
Oh, so that's the only one I could pull up online to now, the one that has that.
Okay,
So-
and by the way, the audits that we get every year, financial audit and the performance audit, you can print them, but they are secured documents, which means you want a paragraph to copy and paste, put in there, it won't let you do that. So what I do is I scan the whole thing, I turn it into a searchable PDF. So if you want any of that kind of stuff, just let me know. I've already got it.
Okay, perfect. I think the question was if we do it all, but we actually do outsource a bit for accounting or
Yes,
those kind of things, and then we oversee that.
yeah, you have to be a certified accountant to do that
Absolutely.
kind of stuff. Okay? Anything else on this?
Dulce, did you get your question answered?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, we rely on these 2 independent audits. And then we gain through the course of a year, and then we produce the report. I will say that if, like, I know, Don, you like doing editing and formatting.
Formatting.
But, that could be something that, making reports pretty, that might be something that we explore leveraging, district consultants or help, or, just throw it out there. And just the only real thing that we have to do, that the report is to essentially say yay or nay, the district is in compliance with the ballot language that approved the bond.
If you take a look at the one we handed out today, that is early on in the report. It's got a big box around it. So it's crystal clear. You don't have to look for it very hard. It jumps out at you. Where? The bottom of the page, about page 2 or 3 or?
Wait.
No, don't look at the annual
It's
report.
got a red box around it.
Yeah,
Talking about the
Page
missing
3.
word,
page 3,
Page 3.
bleaches.
we're on one with the red box around it.
Yeah, okay.
That's the compliance statement.
Yeah, okay. So who's the expert on that? On that?
We are.
Okay. You've got the text, you've got all the articles, we've got the book.
I'm sorry,
You've got the the article or the law.
Language.
Yes.
Language, yeah.
Yes, we do.
Where is it?
Well, it's on here somewhere.
It's on the website.
No, on my computer,
Oh, it's on your computer.
but I mean, it's part of the ed code. Okay,
Do we all have to be really familiar with that?
well, you read that, you're an expert on it.
If I read what?
What's in that box?
Well, I'm not, I don't know what the requirements of article.
Well, you can look up the article, but it, I mean,
13A,
essentially, it's, we, as a CBOC, we've examined the audits. And we've been paying attention to how the money is being spent, where it's being spent. And we're making the determination that it has not been mishandled or misspent. That's what it comes down to. That is our role as a CBOC to make that determination. And if we disagree, all hell breaks loose. Okay. Okay. Item O, site visits. We talked last time about going out to Richmond High School. I sent an email to Ellen at the end of that meeting, later that night, and I didn't get a response. We probably got lost in cyberspace. That happens all the time. I will forward up something again tonight. So we can visit. I know too many people go on vacations during the summer. I was saying that because she told us she's going on vacation.
I think I was taking you on vacation, Dawn.
But the idea, especially with Richmond High, I want to see what it looks like before they start tearing it up. And if anything can be done on that, at least for me, anybody else wants to join in, that'd be great. And we talked about doing it during the daytime a little bit last time. So good, if that's available for people, we got to coordinate things between us and Ellen over there. I said going out to Stige is a no-brainer. You can walk all around it all you want. Bring your own ladder though, because they put the green mesh around there at the end of it to make sure we couldn't see through it. At Kennedy High School, I mean, you don't need as tall of a ladder to be able to see what's out there. But yeah, they're not gonna let you in there, sitting alongside the operator for the excavator. It's not that big of a seat. But we may want to revisit Shannon. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. I mean, not so much, ditches. So, I'm writing things down. Richmond High School, Shannon. And I'll put the word out to everybody else here as well, see if we want to visit Lake before they reopen the K building. Right. I need to make sure I bring booties for my shoes this time around, so I don't step in more of that stuff. Okay, you go to all the trouble wearing shoes with these nice waffle soles on there, and that kind of stuff gets hard to get out of there. I'm out there with not just a toothbrush, I'm there with a wire toothbrush and still couldn't get out there. But does anybody else have anything on site visits they want to bring up? Okay. Zoom recordings. We've been talking about archiving a Spanish language version of the Zoom recordings, and I talked to Ellen about it. Tell us what you've come up with.
So last meeting, we did record the meeting on the cloud, which allows us to access a voice recording of the translation. So, and Dawn very graciously offered to overlap said voice recording over the video, because they don't, for some reason, Zoom doesn't put the two together, but they give you the English version with the video, and then they give you just the sound for the translation. So we are now continuing that approach this meeting, as long as I pushed all the right buttons. And then I'll send it over to Dawn and we'll see what magic can happen.
I've got more software than Best Buy and Fry's combined, especially now that Fry's closed. I might as well get some use out of it. So, okay, anybody questions on that item? Okay, I think it's a good thing. I appreciate Brendan bringing it up, that archiving the Spanish language version. I brought it up to the school board twice, not seeing any action on their part. When I sit down with Ms. Cotton, I will bring it back up again. She was not superintendent when I brought it up the first couple of times. And they were in the middle of contract negotiations, so maybe they had other priorities. Okay. Item Q, the CBOC website. We had a major problem today. They're in the process, you heard Ms. Forrest last month talk about how they're transitioning to the new website over the summer. Well, that's all great, except that it hit our site today. So we weren't able to access things this morning. It was difficult to get a hold of anybody. Ms. Forrest is on vacation, good for her. Melissa was in a meeting, bad for me. But we couldn't get anybody to really figure out what was going on. They finally put me in touch with the person that is handling everything on the IT. The link was dead, and miracle worker that she is, she sprinkled some holy water on it and brought it back to life. So that page at least was accessible, because without having access to the CBOC page and the agenda packet for today, I did not feel at all comfortable about having a CBOC meeting. Because that's what they call a secret meeting when the public is excluded. But then I started calling around. I tried to get a hold of Brendan on there as vice chair. Poor guy, he has to work for a living now. Okay, so he was able to get back to me. I checked with Andrew. But anyway, we got it resolved. That was the most important thing on there. But one of the things I needed was for the annual report to access all those agenda packets from 2022 and 23 to get the pictures off of there. You might recall a couple of months ago, I provided you a lengthy list, 4 or 5 pages of links to all of the agenda packets, all of the Zoom recordings. Well, all those links for the agenda packets are dead. Are they temporarily dead? Or are they permanently dead? Well, Tasha was she's pulling a Melissa. She's doing about 3 jobs at one time. And she wasn't able to jump right on that. I don't blame her. I said, okay, you're not going to have this fixed for tonight, because we talked about assigning each of you little research projects on this stuff. I had flash drives, I had spreadsheets, but if the links are no good, I said we have to go to plan B, and plan B says we'd come back a different time on that. I made sure she knew, to deal with the most important stuff. This thing is not something that's going to make or break us on here. But we do want to take a closer look at the website, find out what items on there need us to look at them more carefully, bring them up to speed, bring them up to date. But also, do we want to add anything? An example, we talked several times about adding a link on there where we could drop all the photographs that you take. So the annual report committee has access to them. Because if you guys probably didn't notice when you're looking at that, what I handed you, but they're not very high resolution pictures on there. Of course, I'm seeing them on a big wide monitor and zoomed up, and I can see just how bad they were. But the pictures that you'll be putting on there will be original pictures, so it'll be better quality. But again, that's something that once they get a little bit farther along on the website, we can address. Is there anybody has any comments on any of this or questions? Anything from the public? I feel proud of myself that half the time I'm actually asking that question. Because when I write the minutes, it's going to say that I asked the question after every one.
There's no hands at this time.
Okay, all right, very quickly. Yeah, do me quickly. A little bit of a report from the chair. I said, I'm very pleased that our membership may be full complement within the next month. That's a very positive step. Okay, we just talked about the website issues. We've already touched bases about Stige and JFK. Communication. We heard from Rochelle Forrest about how she's gonna be working on communication. Well, we still can't get a hold of anybody in the communications department. It's unfortunate that she went on vacation when we needed her, but I can't get anybody to pick up the phone or to answer emails. I get a ticket number, so they're gonna get back to me. Well, I've got dozens and dozens of ticket numbers dating back years, and nobody ever gets back to me on these things. Communication is a problem with the district. Being able to get a hold of the board members has always been a problem. Doesn't matter who's on the board. It's like, once they get elected, they don't really want to spend a lot of their time dealing with the public. But of equal importance, if I'm reaching out to each of you by email, by text, or even phone messages, I would really appreciate if you're able to respond in a timely manner. It's not been as good for me, because I don't want to make unilateral decisions. I don't want to be speaking for us without speaking with you on this. And so it is helpful to get, if you're able to respond back on there. I will be speaking to the board on Wednesday night standing report. And one of the problems that I have there, it's not all that often I'm getting up there singing the praises of our bond program or even public communications, public forum. I'm pointing out issues that need their attention. And it comes across as me complaining all the time. Okay, which is unfortunate. But the bottom line is some of the board members and even some of the staff people, they take it personal against me. And when they do that, it means they stop listening to me. And that's not a good thing. The issue with the asbestos with Steve is a very good example. At least 6 times I made reports to the various board members, 2 superintendents, and even CBOC members with pictures. And it got ignored. It wasn't addressed. We're talking back to 2017. Okay, it wasn't until a year and a half ago with the lawsuit was filed that the district decided to take action, shut the school down, pronto, quick. But it feels like we are not getting the respect that we deserve. We are an important part of our district's process. Educating the kids should be a top priority, yes. But the bottom line is finances and the budget is the primary function of the school board. Okay, and that includes, it's like the $621 million that we're spending right now with the bond program. That's a lot of money in my house. I don't know about your houses, but we need to make sure that try to convince the board members and some of these staff members to treat us with a little bit more respect. Listen to what we have to say. We actually know a little bit about what we're talking about. I don't care how long or how short a time you've been on this committee. You know more than some of these people do already. So we're here for a reason. They need to pay attention to us and listen to what we have to say. So I need to try to get across to them how important it is. Maybe treat us with a little bit more respect. As an example, we had a session just recently where I pointed out that what's in this book, when it was told to us it was on the website. Well, it wasn't a downloadable item. It was one of those books that you could use a cursor to flip the pages. Problem was, I couldn't read it. When I said that, I was corrected. Yes, you can. You can see through my eyes. That was disrespectful in my opinion. Instead of listening to what I had to say, when I say I can't read it, it's okay, that's something we need to work on. It was just correcting me. And I'm getting a little bit tired of being corrected when I don't believe that I'm making that many mistakes. Okay, I had a lengthy discussion with Lynn Johnson yesterday. It was very productive. She had some good ideas that you've all brought up at the same time. And once we have a full complement of people, I'm going to try to schedule some training sessions and a one-on-one kind of thing, not one-on-one, 1-on-5 kind of thing. On the Brown Act, on the CBOC, just what are we supposed to do? What are we entitled to do? What can we not do? On the financial reports, on parliamentary procedures, on our bylaws that we need to update, but even the board policy. Because the more you know about how all these things, the better off the community is going to be, the better off the CBOC is going to be. Because we all need to work as a team. We can't have just 2 or 3 of us that know a bunch of stuff and the others are still struggling to figure out what's going on. The more you know, the better off we're all going to be on this. So I'm going to try to do what I can. I can't make anybody show up at these things. All I can do is offer the tutorials. She suggested coming up with a brief manual on some of these things. That's a good idea. Yeah. Sure that not a whole lot of people want to read this book. A couple of you already said they don't want to read it all. I'm not looking forward either. I didn't see any pictures in here at all. That sucks. But we can come up with a Cliff Notes version of the Brown Act, things that apply to us. It's like Robert's Rules of Order. I've got an original copy of Robert's Rules of Order from 1868. It's about 4 inches by 6 inches. Even with the thick cover, it's not even a ½ inch thick. Okay, pages in it, it's probably got 50 pages. Now it's a little over 1,000 pages. And most of it doesn't apply to any of the thing that we do. So the parliamentary procedures kind of things, we just take to deal with that. Yes, sir.
I mean, would this be on something that you could use AI with? I mean, well, I don't know, I just saw Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, it sounds like you should be able to ask questions about the Brown Act and get answers using AI.
I mean, it sounds great. I mean, if you can rely upon the answers. One of the problems I have had when doing Google searches on the Brown Act, the responses don't have dates on them. Okay,
AI is a little different than Google.
I understand that, except today, for instance, when I was trying to get an answer, about,
I agree with you,
about trying to access the district's website, they would say, clear your cache. Well, I needed to know just how to clear the cache on my operating system. So I do the Google search, it brings up the AI response, that it's telling me what to do, and none of it had anything to do with what I'm seeing on my computer. I had to call Apple themselves on that. So it's not the end-all solution to all of our problems. But whether AI can handle that, I don't know. I really don't. Every time we mention AI, I keep thinking about Skynet. Remember that from the Terminator movie? Gonna take over our military? Anyway, I don't want to beat this to death. So we have any questions or comments on it? Yes.
My public comment is, that your comment around feeling disrespected by district staff, is a common felt feeling across different, parents, caregivers that serve on other committees as well. And it is something that must be brought up with the superintendent who is just coming on board, because that is a huge issue that we have people and leaders and caregivers that want to serve and want to be on committees. And just like this one here, there are others where they are not given the budget, where I see similar patterns. And so that is really important, I think, to bring up as a collective, either, this committee begins or continues the conversation with the superintendent, but it's a pattern in many other committees.
I've been told the same thing by people on those committees and of course, parents. I mean, for somebody that doesn't have a kid, I sure get a lot of calls and emails and texts from people that do have kids. I say, it's like they look at me as a go-to person, as they're seeing me at meetings, they're seeing me speaking on a regular basis. And they reach out to district employees, they reach out to board members, and they get no response.
Yeah.
And so they go to the person that they know, well, at very least, we'll just respond and say, well, I don't have the answer, but I can ask the questions.
Yeah, and just to finish my comment, Fierce Advocates sent a letter to the Department of Communications a month and a week ago, and still haven't received a formal response. And so that is something that I've also heard by multiple other people, is we send an email, we ask for this, we ask for that, and we hear crickets for half a year.
I'm saying it's real easy. I mean, I hear what you're saying, don't get me wrong. It's real easy for us to stand here and say, they're not doing their job, okay? But we don't know why they're not doing their job. Is it because they don't have the personnel? I mean, why are we not getting financial reports? It's not just because Melissa doesn't want to do them. That's not the case at all. There's a reason behind it. And she and I have talked about this and certain things like, because we're dealing with personnel, I can't make it public, but we need to be able to look at the whole picture. But that's why you sit down and have discussions. And that's one of the reasons I feel so grateful to have Cheryl Cotton on there. I've known her for a long time. And I feel comfortable that I can sit down and talk with her.
Yeah, correct. I mean, even a simple letter as, hey, can you follow the Brown Act? doesn't get a response, right? Even something that doesn't require personnel or union negotiations, anything. I think a matter of respect is to say, I've received your message. We're working on this, or we'll get back to you 3 years from now.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, we acknowledge it.
Today, I sent quite a few emails to a large number of people over the website issue. And of course, I CC'd not only Michelle Forrest, but communications. Well, of course, Michelle on vacation, she's not gonna respond. But for every one of those emails I sent, I got a response back from communication. Here's your ticket number. Okay, I said, but that was not a person. That was automated. Okay, but now let's see if I get anything in the next few days.
I didn't know there were ticket numbers from communication.
Yeah.
I didn't get
I've actually found the same thing, just echoing both of you, because I'm actually both a parent and a parent advocate as well within our district. And whether it's principal, whenever you come about any kind of frustration or a problem or anything that has to be figured out over the past 2 years, you get absolutely no response from anyone, whether it's a principal, whether it's someone in the office, our intended, I actually emailed her assistant. I didn't get a response about that. So, I think whenever it's something that has to be figured out and there's another person that has to be involved, they're just ignoring the problem altogether. Maybe because they don't want to say that they're short-staffed. Maybe they don't want to give us, a reason to be worried about our district or whatever the case may be. But I would absolutely echo that communication, whether it's good or bad, it has to improve within our district, and within our committees, because we are members of the public and we are a public school district, and we all have the right to speak to the people that work within this district about what we need.
Okay, anything else as we wind down?
I just wanted to say really quickly, I am the liaison to the CBOC, and so of course, you can always let Dawn know. But if there's a question or if there's information that you need, you can definitely reach out to me. And then our team here has a general email and a general phone number too. So just if you guys have concerns, in my experience, I've been in the district for about 10 years, and just about everything that we've created here was better because we created it together. And so I do really think that your voice is valuable, your feedback is important. We don't know it until you share it with us. And so, you can definitely bring it to the meeting, but if you also wanted to ask for something offline, like, you can definitely reach out to me.
Just maybe you can help with this. I wonder, at a couple of our town hall meetings now, they're allowing people onto Zoom and another platform, but the questions that are being asked, they're not being responded to. They will say, oh, we'll answer them in a couple days, on a, I don't know, I guess on a platform just all together, but those questions are actually never being answered. No public comments, no questions have been answered. I actually commented on Demetrio Gonzalez always after one of our town hall meetings and asked, hey, can you guys, answer the questions that were asked on both the platforms, the Google Forms and Zoom. That's what it is, Google Forms and Zoom. None of those questions are being answered.
Yeah, so I look forward to sitting down with Ms. Cotton, or this can be discussed. My only concern with my sit down with her is she's probably only gonna give me a half a day or less, and that's not gonna be enough time. There's so many subject matters to discuss. But she understands that she needs to listen to groups like ours to help bring her up to speed, because she wants to be a success in her new job. I don't blame her. We all do, right? But if she doesn't have the information that she needs, it'd be very difficult for her to be successful. So, one of the keys when you get a new position, I told this to Dr. Hurst too, one of your biggest problems is figure out who can you count on to provide you with information, and can you trust that information? As I said, I guarantee you, everybody you talk to is going to have an agenda. I said, I'm feeding you all kinds of information. I've got my own agenda. At least with me, though, you can easily tell the difference between my opinion and the facts I'm giving you. And he saw that and agreed on there, but, yeah, she's gonna have a tough one as she gets acclimated to her new position on here, okay? Let's get ourselves out of here. We got future agenda topics. One thing that I'm putting on there, I put it on there much earlier, repurposing of materials as we're demolishing some of our sites. We go into more detail about that and provide Ellen and Melissa with specific questions that I've got so they can come prepared. I do not believe in ever blindsiding somebody. Yeah, gotcha moments don't work. But a lot of people are asking about why so many things were demolished, why they were destroyed during these demolitions there. I know we have reported before when we took the visit at JFK, they repurposed things like doors, hardware, electrical switches and such like that. It's very good, but there's a lot of other things that just made me scratch my head. Once again, I don't want to look at something and say, I know everything about it. We need to be able to give staff an opportunity to explain, this is why we couldn't do that. Well, that would be agenda. Do we have any other topics that we want to discuss?
I have a couple.
Okay.
So I think one, it just, piggybacking on the recent discussion about, working with the district, getting answers, getting respect. We could have a discussion about a joint memo of all the committees that serve the district to kind of crowdsource and refine some of the requests that we may be experiencing, more common than it should be, but something we could discuss. And then the other item is something I followed up with Melissa on, is just an interest of mine, is to understand the best way to maximize community utilization of our schoolyards that are obviously all bond funded, and try to kind of understand the challenges and barriers to allowing the community to use the schoolyard as much as possible. I know there's real challenges, and, coming up, it's gonna demand creative solutions and probably funding of some sort, but.
I'll put those for further discussion, but just real quickly, so you know, June of last year, I filed a public records request to get the policy on that. And I keep waiting for it to show up. I haven't even got the acknowledgement that they received it as required by law.
I think for the item, and there's no rush to get it on, but, I'd like to do some due diligence and meet with Melissa and kind of meet with some other community members that have been working on this issue and meeting with you, and then kind of bring it to the committee, just to kind of present the topic. Yeah.
Well, most likely I'll put it on next month's agenda, but we'll talk, you and I, about just how much we want to discuss next time. It doesn't mean it's one meeting. We can do it in multiple meetings, because it is important. We spent a tremendous amount of money on the play field at JFK, for instance. And there's a big group of people that are upset because they think that a special group of people is getting the soccer field there and the local kids are not. Okay, and the one-sided argument. Let's hear the other side of that argument. That's one of the reasons I got the public records request, to find out why are these certain groups getting the soccer fields and other maybe not. Yes.
I will say, I actually will echo that, because it was actually extremely hard for a local football team to get filled, but soccer teams have been in surplus, in addition to creating more soccer fields and soccer teams. But other teams, and these are all WCC USD students as well, children, in addition to our Special Olympics team, Norcal Special Olympics, those are all WCC USD students and alumni. They had a horrible time acquiring facilities as well. Even with people volunteering to bring the key to a lockbox, whatever the case may be, so it has been incredibly difficult for certain groups, yes.
And my understanding of the issue is that there's also a fee that is charged. And so local groups, it's an issue of Richmond-based versus Berkeley and other cities. And so they're using other cities and people are using the local field, and that leaves out Richmond kids to not use those fields. So I think we do need to look at the issue. We need to see what's happening. There's something around the fees and something around are our local kids getting access to the field as well.
Yeah, I'm in agreement 1,000% on all this, but we have to keep in mind how much of this falls under what the CBOC has any say over. Okay, because it's not bond funds that are being involved with that. The bond funds will build the sports field at Kennedy High School. But after that, it's just like a classroom. It's up to the district of how they utilize it. But it's something that deserves a better discussion than just what we had here. Yes.
And my understanding is that as community members and people who serve on the CBOC, the reason we do this is to ensure that there is equity and access to the resources that our funding goes to these schools. And so this is part of it, right? It's saying, hey, we as the CBOC, we'd like to see X, Y, and Z happen. Hey, school board members, CBOC recommends X, Y, and Z. CBOC, we've taken a vote and we recommend, and this is what we support. This is our vision.
I don't disagree on that. It's just, all I'm gonna do is suggest that we don't get too deep into the weeds on determining the exact policies that the district has, for instance. Because the decision comes down to the board itself, but we can provide information to the board.
Correct.
And I'm limited to 1 5-minute report per month. And never stood up in front of the microphone and all of a sudden that microphone cuts off. Makes you angry. I actually accused them of bringing the clock last time.
We'll be there.
Anyway, do we have anything else on future agenda items?
I just wanted to share quickly as a resource, the district does have a governance committee where they do talk about policies. And at the June 25th governance committee, they did have a really lengthy conversation about facilities use, in particular the policy. And the recording of that meeting is available on the district's YouTube. So if you wanted to get some information about the policy, and they kind of like walked through it. I mean, there was like a really good conversation, because that is the committee that looks at different board policies and ways to improve them or get more clarity. And they really talked about some of the data. And so I would recommend that as a resource.
I love that. And then the CBOC can say we support that or not.
And the benefit of the YouTube video is, once it's posted there, it's out of the control of the people that have shown us all those 404 pages today. Even that list I was telling you about with all the agenda of URLs and the videos were fine. It was only anything to do with the district website. Yes.
I will say though, when we had the meeting with the communications department, she did say that the website, that the site in general would be down while they switch things over, didn't she?
Yeah, yes, she did. But did she have to, no, did it have to be our site the day that we needed it?
Oh, no, yeah, it's a lot. I've been,
Yeah.
throughout the past 2 weeks, it's been multiple,
Yeah.
just so that, it's not just us, it's been multiple.
I mean, it could have been last week, it could have been tomorrow. I needed it today, though. Anyway, we already got 2 people that are chomping at the bit to get out of here. Do we have anything else? Then we will, our next meeting will be Monday, August 11th, and we are adjourned at 8:43 PM.
Great.
Thank you very much. Productive. We got some good stuff going.
Have another big vote.